Hello, welcome to Verbling. I'm teacher Oakley, and once again, it's time for Business English. In today's Business English class, we're going to talk about competition in business, gaining competitive advantage, and marketplace competition. We'll be looking at a little bit of vocabulary. We'll be discussing ways of gaining a competitive advantage. And if time allows, we'll also look at a little bit of grammar related to talking about future competition hypothetically. Okay, we'll be starting out with a pretty basic mix and match exercise to look at collocations or phrases that are related to competition in the marketplace, and then we'll discuss it, different ways that companies go about gaining an advantage. Okay, well. Ready when you guys are. Come on in, join the class, plenty of room. I don't believe the class is fully booked just yet, so there's plenty of room in the class. Come on in and join me, and we'll get started. Plenty of material to cover. Probably too much. Okay. Okay, we'll also, I almost forgot, we'll also be talking about an area in vocabulary directly related to competition, and that is the vocabulary which we use to tender bids or to bid on projects or to compete very directly by giving estimates of costs for different things. All right. Great. Hello, Sasha. Welcome to the class.
Hi. How are you?
Hi. I'm fine. How are you doing today?
Very good. I have a question. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, very clear, actually.
Okay. Because previous teachers said me that my voice very low, and I thought maybe it's my microphone broke.
Yeah, it seems good to me.
Okay. Yeah, I'm glad to hear it.
Okay.
Teacher, quick question. Sorry. You said while I was listening the start of the class. You said the company go about. What does it mean, go about?
Okay. Good question. Before I attack that question, the other teachers said me. The other teachers told me.
Just told me. Yeah. If
I
said without me, said me.
Said to me.
Just said without me. Okay. Or
yeah,
said
that's
me.
what you
told me, or just said.
You should either say told me, someone told me, or someone said to me.
Okay.
Generally speaking, if you say someone told me, you paraphrase what they said, the idea. If you say someone said to me, then you're quoting them, exactly what they said to you. Okay. All right. Now back to your question. Now, what was your question? How the company goes about? How to go about doing something. Okay. When you talk about the phrase "go about," and usually with a gerund, go about doing something, go about fixing a computer, how to go about repairing your car engine. It's the way to do it. Okay. So I think I probably said how companies go about gaining, again with a gerund, a competitive edge. I'm not sure exactly what I said, but something to that effect anyway. Okay, what I mean is the way that they gain a competitive edge, how they go about gaining a competitive edge. That's basically the meaning.
So like do or implement.
Do or implement, and also the way that you do or implement. This sometimes we talk about go about. Let me give you another example.
Yes, maybe, yeah.
I don't like the way he goes about conducting a meeting. Yeah, the way he does it. Yeah, but there's a slight inference of the style. We use it when we're talking about the style, the way, the manner. It's a synonymous phrase, the manner in which. So today we will talk about the manner in which companies gain a competitive edge. Same thing. We'll talk about how companies go about gaining a competitive edge. Same thing. So yes, it's
which way they
way.
like which way they will use to do something. Like go. Yeah, I think I got it, the idea.
Right. Okay. Go about, the manner in which is another phrase we use to sort of, they're transitionals. We use it to introduce, okay, I'm going to talk about the style or the way that they do something. Basically, the transition.
I think it's not formal. It's because I've heard it in regular speech. I think.
Sure. It's one of those that's kind of somewhere floating in the middle. Can be used very informally. Can be used formally.
Okay.
Somewhere in the middle there.
I got the idea. Thank you very much.
Sure, you're welcome. Okay. Hello, Saiban. How are you?
Oh, good, thank you, teacher. And yourself?
Well, I'm okay. A little bit under the weather, but I'm all right.
I'm glad to hear that.
Okay. Okay. Well, we're first of all going to look at some collocations, some words and phrase collocations that have something to do with discussing gaining a competitive edge, gaining advantage. Okay. All right. The first one is done for us, a proven track record. Okay. This is a collocation which has to do with the history of a company or an individual. A person can have a proven track record. He has a proven track record as a salesman. Okay, in other words, it's positive, very positive. I wouldn't say somebody has a proven track record, which is negative. He has a proven track record of getting almost no sales per month. That doesn't make sense. So, okay, that definitely has to do with business competition, and it's definitely positive. Okay, as we go along, we're also going to discuss how the ideas may give a competitive advantage or how they relate to competitive advantage. A quick shout out and welcome to Hogan. Hogan, good to see you again.
Good to see you again.
All right, welcome to the class. Okay, Sasha, number 2.
Being one step ahead of the in this, shall I just continue the phrase or?
Yeah. It's a mix and match.
Being one step ahead of competition.
Very good. All right. It occurred to me just as you were reading that that you could easily put other words, but the very kind of standardized phrase, one step ahead of the competition. Well, what's that mean, do you think?
It means the always be one step ahead um, uh, your your rival.
Yeah. For example,
For example, if you had maybe shop and on the opposite street there is another shop that sell the same products that you sell, and to be on a step ahead of that shop, for instance, you might provide more fresh products of grocery, for instance.
okay.
This might be.
Yeah. It strongly associates as well with innovation. Yeah, a lot of times you hear this phrase used in reference to technology type companies. All right. Because they're doing something the other competition simply not doing yet. Yeah, it can be used more generally the way that you used it, basically to be providing a better product. It can be used that way, but also it's used to talk about doing something the competition's not, being the first to do something.
Yes. For instance, here, the same shops. My shop can you can pay to credit card, but that shop only can you can only pay for money, like
Sure.
tangible, for
Cash.
instance, cash. Yeah, cash.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that would, yes. It may be in how you go about selling, like your description, maybe what you sell. Maybe your shop, maybe you have a bakery and your shop sells donuts on a stick. I don't know. Whatever. I'm making it up, but who knows? If you can set a trend or a fad, you're most certainly one step ahead of the competition. Okay. I just, as I looked at it, I started laughing to myself because I was thinking, as an employee, sometimes I like to be one step ahead of the management. I don't know. It strikes me as funny. So if they don't really know, okay, if you're one step ahead of someone, you're thinking of something before they are, is the idea. So you can also use this in other ways. The criminal was always one step ahead of the police, for example. He would know what the police are doing, and he could think ahead of them. That's the idea. Okay, Saiban. Oh yeah. No, go ahead. Next one, number 3.
Okay, clear brand identity.
Okay.
So I think that the corporation should, identity their brand in the market. So it's very important. It's necessary, teacher.
Mm-hmm. To be different from your competitors and
Yeah.
recognizably different.
Yes.
Right. Which, of course, all right, what kind of ways do companies promote or create a very clear brand identity?
Uh, I think, teacher. By dominated the market, maybe.
Wow.
And before dominated the market, actually, um, they should have some feature in their brand that it's not available in other brand. So it will draw the customer to this brand because this brand has some feature that it's different from other feature from other brand. That's why
Uh-huh.
the customer have a loyalty for this brand.
Okay. Okay. Well, they will drive, not will drive, right?
Drive. Okay.
Yeah, will drive, future tense, will drive customer.
Will drive customer. Okay.
Yeah, well, that's the good way to do it. Yeah, is to be one step ahead of the competition and create something unique or different than other brands. And then, of course, pure market domination will, of course, make your brand stand out naturally as well. Both things you said. But of course, the more chintzy, cheap, the way many companies do it, they use slogans. Just do it. Or symbols like the golden arches. Okay. That also automatically, when we see that swoosh, we know what company it is. That's also clear brand identity. But of course, if you remember back when Nike first started, they developed a totally different kind of shoe. So what you're talking about, driving the market by innovation, by creating something totally different, when Nike started, they were different. Of course, now everybody's following them and everyone's basically imitating, like the air, the push. You could push in the air to surround your foot. Things like that were clearly different. So you're absolutely correct. But in addition to that, they did a lot of branding and pretty heavy duty. We all know who Just Do It is associated with. We all know what a Nike swoosh looks like. So both things. You're talking about the real way to do it.
Actually, may I ask add something else, teacher?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, I think one other thing that is very, very strong in here in Iraq, I mean, because we don't have a really, let's say, um, the company, whatever company did in here, whatever company do in here, it's really hard. I mean, it's not just, I mean, how can I say that when you just rec I don't know how to say reclam or what, I mean the ad to do advertise whenever, I mean it's not working it's not working as much as the word in the mouth, I mean, or mouth, how can I say that word in the mouth is very uh, yeah, it's very strong here, teacher. I
Yeah.
mean, I am personally I am affected by somebody else when tell me this brand is working for me. So why you bought, when you say why you body don't go and buy this brand? It's a really good brand. It has a really unique feature. So it's really working here in my country and also in United States. Like one example, I have loyalty for Puma since my friend has a good experience with Puma. So it's really working, teacher.
Okay. A company is a singular, so a company does something.
Okay, company
And
does.
also, we were talking about word of mouth advertising, and yes, that can, if you have a clear brand identity, then you can have word of mouth advertising. But if your brand is indistinguishable from other brands, then word of mouth advertising won't work. I agree with you. Word of mouth advertising, in my opinion, just my opinion, is the most effective advertising. I totally agree with you. But first, you have to have a clearly different brand image or identity. Um, yeah, I agree with you. One follows the other, I think. Again, we're just opinion here.
Yes.
Okay, quick shout out to Ken. Welcome to the class. Hi, Ken.
Yes, hello. Are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Thanks for joining us. I'll talk to you in just a minute, Ken. First, I want to talk to Hogan. What is the co-location with number 4 competitive, Hogan? Hogan? Have I lost you? Hello, hello?
We can hear you.
Okay, well, you can hear me. I can't hear Hogan though. Oh, okay, Ken. I guess Hogan. I'm sorry, we can't hear you right now. So, Ken. All right.
Mhm.
Which word on the right co-locates with competitive?
Competitive competition.
Yeah. Well, not exactly. No.
Competitive price.
Yeah,
Prices.
competitive prices. There you go. Yeah, competitive competition is a little bit like repetitive repetition. Okay. All right. Competitive prices. Well, duh. And okay, we're talking about how these ideas give a competitive advantage. Well, this is probably the easiest one to discuss. Yeah, Ken. Clearly, obviously, prices are important. How important are prices to you, Ken, when you're buying things?
Yeah, it's important. Nowadays, especially buying electric appliances, I check the internet site, check the price in several. One site introduces a lot of different online shops price, and I can compare very easily nowadays.
Yeah. And I want to share with you guys an interesting story about competitive pricing. As some of you may know, I used to be a chef, and when I was still training as a chef, I worked for this Danish chef. And anyway, the restaurant was able to procure very fresh, right off the farm, very beautiful racks of lamb ribs. Gorgeous meat. Anyway, since he got such a great deal, he went ahead and he put it on the menu for a very cheap price. Something like $16 for a rack of lamb, something like that. Because he was getting it for a great price, he wanted to still make a profit, but pass on the value to his customers. However, what happened was his customers did not buy the lamb. Why? Because he was selling it at basically almost half the price of any other restaurant. Why, Ken? What?
Because there's some cosmetic or some company items intentionally price up because for customer, so for the entertainment or for such company, customer believes higher price is there.
Yes.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
And speaking of co-locations and vocabulary, customer perception is what is important when it comes to pricing. Not really. Well, okay, I can't say not competition because that's not true, but customer perception is equally important, which many people overlook. Ken is exactly right. The customer perceived that, wow, rack of lamb is a very expensive dish. If you're only selling it for $16, it must be terrible lamb. And as a matter of fact, this particular chef raised the price to almost double, to like $28, and we could not keep them in the house. It became the most popular dish in the restaurant after he doubled the price. He could only sell 3 or 4 a week, and he went to selling 200, 300 a week by doubling the price. It was a very interesting lesson in marketing for me. I was amazed, but absolutely true story. Okay. Anyway, Hogan, you're back. Or I hope you're back.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay, great.
Okay, terrific. All right, so it's quite obvious that prices can drive competition. Next one, Hogan, number 5.
Customer relationship management.
Very good. All right, we talked about this yesterday. Yeah. Okay. Is customer relationship management for you as a consumer, as a customer, is this an important factor?
Definitely. So as a customer, I want the company cares customers. So like after sales services, some warranties, and keep maintaining the good relationship. So that is very important for the customers, and that's one of the reasons why customers can loyal to the company and keep buying the product from the same company, keep using it.
Okay, can be loyal or can stay. I should actually use stay.
Stay, yeah.
Stay loyal is a better word. Okay, it's important for you for a customer care. A better way to put it for the business to care about the customer.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Care about the customer. All right. Absolutely. So this is a big area of competition in today's market and virtually every business. A lot more companies are trying, at least, to be more competitive in their aftercare or their customer relations. The advent of online marketing, of course, is all about keeping a dialogue with the customers, trying to show the customers that you care about them, and in many other ways. Okay. Sasha, number 6.
Good value for money.
Yeah, it should be for the money.
The money.
Really, the phrase is good value for the money. Meaning the money that you spend on something. All right. Well, obviously, in order to be competitive, going right along with prices, clearly, you have to have a decent value for the money. How do you feel, Sasha, about products that you can buy for half the price, but they will break in twice as quickly, or more, 4 times as quickly?
You mean like a lamb, like the lamb?
Well, no. The lamb was good. It was good for whatever price. It was a good value. But no, I'm talking about, for example, when I buy, headphones. Earlier we were talking about headphones and microphones. Okay, I quite honestly, I'm in this business, so I use my equipment a lot. I stupidly was buying a very cheap headset repeatedly. I would buy a headset, it would be broken in 1 to 2 months. Although it was much cheaper in price, the price was very competitive. The value for the money certainly was not. And eventually, I went and bought a headset that cost 10 times the amount. But instead of having to buy 8 headsets a year, I have the same headset for 2 years. So in reality, I'm saving money. So that's kind of the idea. So Sasha, well, what do you think? I wanted to avoid talking about China, but there's no way. Many people, everybody says I'm not going to buy cheap products from China that sell for half the price, but then break in a quarter of the time. But many people do. Nevertheless.
About China products, actually, it was very common mindset, if I can say it, about China, but it was maybe 5 or even 10 years ago. Now actually many Russians buy from Chinese stores, and actually it's pretty good quality electronics, because nowadays the things are very good quality actually, and very cheap. And you can I can see it. I bought many things. My friend bought many things, and it still work very good, and it's very cheap.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
In the past, yes, it was not bad idea. People was very scared of the word China on, on something. Oh no, it's China. No, no. Let's
Right.
run
So,
away.
okay, obviously many companies had to provide a better value for the money. So they saw that that was not good for their competitive advantage. So there you go, a case study right there. Okay, moving on. Saiban, market.
Price, prices.
Well, no.
Research. Sorry, research.
Yeah.
Market research.
Market prices is a co-location, but market prices mean what is normal on the market at any given time. Market prices will change. So that is a strong co-location, so I can't say you're entirely wrong. Okay, but all right, market research. What is market research?
Okay, the market research, it's when the company wanted to have a new product, and it will look to the market which which I mean which people are the market should, I mean, let's say in other way that it will look to the pro and cons for a new product, or it will new to the it will look for market for a market for its new let's say product, or yeah, demographies, it's one of this. And
Yes,
a people, and the people that a group of people.
exactly. Okay, there's two things. Demographics, which governments use to analyze their population. Also, companies use to just figure out who is in the population. You're not going to sell, you're not going to sell surfboards in a community where 80% of the population is 60 years old or over, like a retirement community. Not a good place to start trying to sell surfboards. So obviously, it would kind of help to know what the ages of the population are. Equally, you're not going to sell a lot of Mercedes-Benz cars in a town that has an average income of $10,000 a year. You're not going to sell a lot of $100,000 cars. Clearly, things about income, education level, ages, gender, the male and female. You have to know how many children, all these things to know if you even have a market. That's part of it. Another part of it, Saiban, do you know what a focus group is?
Uh, Actually, teacher, the people that I mean join the market research, that help the company,
Yeah,
help the company. I think.
yeah. That's pretty much it. Exactly. Okay. Right. The people who they volunteer, right? They're not captured like soldiers. They volunteer and they do focus group studies. They try a product, maybe even compare the product with other products. I don't know, and they answer questions about it. So basically,
But
opinion gathering meetings.
yeah, excuse me, teacher. May I just add a comment, please?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, okay, teacher. Actually, what I have just studied about the new marketing research, they
Uh-huh.
say they have the focus groups. It's really traditional way for company, and it costs company a lot of too much money. So instead of this, they have online community. So today, right? I mean, nowadays, a lot of company via social media, like social, community, let's say like Facebook or Twitter, they are doing their marketing research, or let's say that the people help them by left some comment, or by give them some feedback, and it's really cheap way for company instead of the focus group and other traditional community. The traditional way.
And I would 100% agree with you. This whole, the way market research is done is definitely changed a lot in the last 10 or 20 years. Definitely 20 years, but absolutely, that is much more common now. Absolutely. Of course, if you know what your market is, everybody, you have to know who your customer is, first of all, who's buying your product, and also you have to know what they want. So that's basically the idea. Okay, I'm going to move on to a different type, very straightforward competition. Let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger here. Wait a second. Okay, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about competitive bidding. Okay. All right, competitive bidding is, for example, just as an example, the government wants to build a new bridge for a highway. Then the government will advertise, will ask for tenders or bids for companies to give an estimate how much will it cost to build the bridge. And then the government can decide whose bid they're going to take. So this is very direct competition. There can be other governments do it all the time, but in fact, you could do it in a company. If your company needed whatever 100,000 tons of steel, you could ask for different 3, 4, 5 companies to, how much can you give me? 100,000 tons of steel. What's the price going to be? And they can bid for that. Or you can bid for somebody to ask for bids for somebody to give you, I don't know, some kind of outsourcing. All right, if you do my customer service for me, how much is it going to cost me? Lots of things can be put out for bid or for tender. So let's just jump right into another mix and match exercise, and we'll talk about this process. For example, the first one, a tender, is a formal written offer to do a job for an agreed price. Another way to say that, it's an estimate. It's a formal estimate. Okay, is a tender. Somebody can put out a job or a project for tender, is how we phrase that. Okay, let's look at some of these other words. Hogan, number 2.
Number 2, procurement. That's the obtaining of supplies or services.
Very good. Okay. All right. You need to procure supplies or services. Okay. I have a stupid question, only because I'm ignorant of your business, Hogan. You're doing software.
Yes, I'm a software engineer. I'm writing a computer program.
Right. Do you actually have to procure anything?
From other companies, you mean?
Yeah.
If we need some software, we may ask other department, we need this software, please buy it for us. But we are not directly buying software myself.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so it is possible. I asked that question out of sheer ignorance. I did not know if you actually need anything other than people with brains, like yourself, in order to do the job. Okay. Supplies or services. You can procure the services of a BPO, or business process outsource company. We don't. Yeah, well, possibly. I was going to say we don't use this word procure employees, but you actually could if you were using some kind of service, employee service. You could procure employees from ABC recruiting company, like an outsource company. It's possible.
Are you saying that like recruiting new employees? So
yeah.
instead of you are hiring some people directly, but you are asking some other companies, like outsourcing companies, and ask them to find some people fit this company, right?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay.
The interesting term that we use for that, a person who does it, is a headhunter. Have you ever heard that before? Yeah, right.
So yeah, actually, one of my prior companies, actually, Headhunter contacted me, and I applied it, and it went well, and I got hired. So that's one example. Yeah.
Well, there you go. Okay.
Yep. It works.
Right. It does work, and there are plenty of companies that do this, that procure employees for another company. Okay. All right. Ken, next one. Can you see that? To assess. To assess. They're definitions. We're not mix and match. The verb to assess means what?
G, to judge or decide the value of something.
Okay, very good. All right. Interestingly, okay, if you're doing a bidding process, okay, the company obviously has to assess a lot of things to decide how much it will cost. It's interesting because all of this is really the same thing. We use all these fancy terms in business, tender. Okay, we have to know how much it will cost to procure supplies and services to build the bridge, for example. All right, let's keep our example of building a bridge. All right, what do you need to assess, Ken?
To build a bridge, kind of the price of the materials.
Yeah.
And the price changes up to the how to build that technique for how to build.
Mm-hmm. Yes. You're going to
structure. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll have to assess your methodology. You have to assess everything. how you're going to do it, because otherwise you won't know how much material you need. You have to assess your labor needs. You have to assess the time as well. One thing something like my bridge, my imaginary bridge, the government's going to want to know how long too. This is a factor. Definitely. The government will, a government or company will want to know how long it will take you to get started and what is your projected finish date. That's another thing that needs to be assessed, is the timing. Okay. Sasha, back to you. To itemize, number 4, to itemize.
To itemize, maybe detailed description of how something should be done, and because I don't know any of these words.
Okay. Good ones to know. All right.
Maybe
okay. No, that's not it. That's another word, but okay.
It is from item, the word.
Yeah, well, yeah. See, I'm trying to figure out. All right. Okay, I'm trying to figure out itemize.
Maybe to list things separately.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah. Okay, yes, that's it. All right, if you itemize, we use this verb to itemize a bill. Okay. You itemize a bill, you list each thing on a bill. If you go to a restaurant and pay your check in the restaurant, your bill will be itemized, of course. It'll tell you how much of anything that you had. Just for a simple example, when you put in an official bid to do a job for a company, they will probably ask you to itemize it, to specifically say how much specific things are going to cost. Okay, you could ask for a bid for a marketing a marketing project or whatever. Why would a company want to see an itemized estimate or an itemized bid? Sasha?
I don't know.
Okay, well, possibly so that they could say something like, you know what, we don't really need this. Let's cut down the price a little here. Or how about if we do this instead? It gives them room to negotiate, possibly. For example, I actually used to work on, I used to do house painting, one of my many, many careers I've had in my life. When I was very young, we did house painting. And this was actually fairly common. You would make an estimate of how much it would cost to paint somebody's house. The smart ones would ask, if they didn't ask, we just put in a bid. It'll cost me $1,000 to paint your house. Fine, they could say yes or no. The smart ones would say, could you itemize your bid? And so then we'd have to say, okay, we're using brand X latex paint. We're using brand Y flat paint. We're going to need to buy a ladder for the third story because okay. So I have to itemize what I'm doing. They can very easily turn around and say, you know what? You don't need brand X paint. Why don't you buy brand Y? It's like $10 cheaper a gallon. This should bring your estimate down $150. How about that? Can you do it for $850? And then we'd have to say, well, obviously he can do math. Crap. All right, yes, $850. So frankly, that's why. Because it's definitely very easy. Sometimes somebody who's putting in a bid will put in that they're going to use, if they're itemizing it, will be using the finest products when the customer will be perfectly satisfied with a, not necessarily the best quality. So that's why. And that's a real story that really happened a couple times with bids. Because it was itemized, it gave them room to negotiate. Well, we don't need you to do that. We don't want you to do that. Or you can use something else as a supply. Okay, anyway, moving on. Saiban, number 5, specifications.
Okay. It's later C. Detailed description of how something should be done or made or etc.
Right. One of the things that Ken was busy assessing. Do you know how we say this in short? Almost nobody says.
Specifies?
Yeah, I know. The specs. Okay, can you just send me the specs in an email? This is very common. Almost nobody actually uses the whole formal word. I need to see the specs for the new software update. What exactly does it do? How much will it cost? Where does it go? How does it function? Everything.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so the how part of the equation. Right. Again, before we really know how many people or what materials we need, we have to know the specs, how it's being made, or how something is being done. Okay. Hogan, number 6.
Number 6, fee. I think this is one of the easiest one, I guess. Fee is amount of money paid for a particular piece of work.
Yeah, I suppose it is. Okay. Yeah. Fee, price, about the same thing. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty straightforward.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Sometimes, okay, now here's a little sneaky thing. Well, speaking of fee, actually, now I remember why it's good that this is here. Sometimes, for example, let's go back to my imaginary bridge. I'm the vice mayor, let's say, and I'm building a bridge. I could, if I was a little bit corrupt, I could charge a fee for your 4 different companies. Of all 4 of you have construction companies. I could charge a tender fee. All right. So what that means is, Hogan, I'm charging you. All right. If you want to bid, you have to pay me, the vice mayor, $1,000 to accept your bid.
That's bribe.
Well, kind of, but there are
kickback or something.
Kickback, bribe, both.
The same.
Yeah, but there
rebate.
are.
How about rebate?
Yeah, well, not rebate, because a rebate comes after something's done, after a product's delivered.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of a bribe scheme. It's kind of it's definitely looks like a kickback. Yeah. If it's done all under the table, then it definitely is, and it's corruption. However, sometimes you can, if it's all above board. Do you know what I mean, above board, Hogan?
Above board? I don't know. I've never heard about that.
Okay. Some often used with all above board. Does anybody else in the class know what that means? If everything's above board? Oh, that's a new one? Okay, good one to know. If everything's above board, it means everything's legal, transparent, not corrupt. It's not illegal. Everything's perfectly by the book. It is possible to procure bids. By the way, you procure bids and require a fee. It's possible, but everything's got to be, very much legal and above board. It's got to be, whatever. Okay, you pay the money, and of course, the money then wouldn't be going into my pocket. The money would go into some kind of fund, which might be used towards the project, for example, or related to the project. It is possible to do it legally, but it's very, very possible to do it illegally as well. Good question, Saiban. Exactly. Okay, you guys are teaching each other. Very good. No, we don't say under the board or underboard or below board. We only say everything is above board, but we can say under the table, which is very similar. It's not transparent. Okay. Bids were taken under the table. Yeah. The same way that you can get paid under the table, meaning you're not transparently paying taxes, you can also have a under the table bidding process like I was explaining. So, very good. That's it. Okay, Ken, spreadsheet. Well, that's pretty easy. What's a spreadsheet?
Be a computer program used specifically in business, which allows you to do financial calculation and plans.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, the numbers. Do you know what it means, Ken, that another colloquial phrase, crunching the numbers?
Crunching the numbers.
Yes. Crunch the numbers.
Crunch the number. Maybe spread the number.
Yeah. Okay. The idea, you'd very frequently be using a spreadsheet as a tool to do this verb crunch, to crunch the numbers. Basically, if you're about to do a tender or a bid, you're going to crunch the numbers. You're going to try to lower the cost here or there. You're changing the numbers, manipulating the numbers, but not in like an illegal way to accomplish something illegal necessarily, but to end up with a final number that you can live with. Okay. Governments that are figuring out their budget, or anybody, when you figure out, oh, how much money do I have for bills? How much can I save? When you figure out your personal budget, you're crunching the numbers. Okay, this is my electric bill, this is my water bill, here's my rent. Looks like I owe an insurance payment this month. Okay, you add and subtract. That's what you're doing. You're crunching the numbers for your budget. Okay. Last one, Sasha, back to you. To bid.
To bid. Just cite. Oh my God. To compete against other firms by offering to do a job or contact for a certain amount of money.
Yeah. In most places, government projects like my bridge would be open to bid. So they're not showing favoritism. So they're not getting kickbacks and bribes. Supposedly, anyway. Okay. A company who's looking for an advertising agency to facilitate a marketing strategy may ask for tenders. They may want formal written offers. Okay. It's slightly different. It's really the same concept. Because then it's up to them to decide. A government, for example, that accepts bids should, anyway, take the lowest offer, but they also have to consider, if I bid to make the bridge out of cardboard boxes instead of high-grade steel, the government could easily say, okay, wait a minute, that's crazy. We don't want a bridge made out of cardboard. Okay.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. About itemize.
Yeah.
I looked in my dictionary and it said that with S it's British and with the Z it's American. Is it correct or?
Yeah, it is. There's a lot of words like this.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of words. It's the same. They're the same words. A lot with ise, suffix, or ize. Realize is another one. Itemize. I can't think of any others, but there are definitely a lot of them. It doesn't change the meaning at all, though. But that's right. The spelling S is British and Z is American. Okay. Well, okay. I could have stretched this class into 2 days, but unfortunately, I didn't. But anyway, very interesting conversation. I hope you learned some good vocabulary and phrases, and hope you found it interesting. But shoot, we're about out of time, so I have to say so long for now, guys. Thanks a lot for your help.